Welcome to my short, or hopefully short, guide on how to get fishing unlocked in Guild Wars 2. So, I'm going to list a few things right now that you will need in order to do this, and there are pretty much no exceptions. I'm very sure that you will need to have your character at level 80, so if you don't have your character at level 80, I suggest going and unlocking that and doing that, because I'm pretty sure this story step does not actually unlock if your character is not level 80. I'm going to put a little disclaimer in here because I will be trying to avoid spoilers for this story mission, but there will be speech bubbles, like I'm going to edit in the screen onto the screen right now using my editing software, and they'll be popping up over characters' heads like so. I cannot for the life of me censor every single speech bubble because that would feel like that would take years in editing, and it would also be an insane task. So there will be characters talking. I do have the music at zero volume, and I have the character's speech at 0 volume. But if you really, really don't want spoilers, I'm afraid there's no other way I can really show you the first mission to get there without spoiling at least a little bit for you. I'll be going over the mechanics, by the way, so I won't be talking about any of the story steps or what's happening in the story or what characters are saying to who. I'll just refer to them as this is Zura guy with the glasses and this is Zura lady, and telling you who to follow and who you have to fight in order to get to Cantha, which is the place you need to go to unlock fishing. You need to do pretty much the first story step to unlock fishing. Okay, just putting a quick little cut in the video because there's one thing I want to explain that I really forgot when I was mentioning the stuff you should need, or at least have a bit of it to get ready for the upcoming fight in order to get to Cantha and get your fishing skill unlocked. So one of the things is basically, you of course would usually have a melee weapon of your choice, let's say great sword or whatever, depending on whatever class you're playing, such as a guardian. In this case I have a sword and a hammer. Hammer in offhand, sword in main hand. But I would also really, really recommend bringing a ranged weapon of any sort, preferably a ranged weapon you are really comfortable with, and also a ranged weapon that fires a little bit fast. What I mean by fires a little bit fast, well, I'll explain that right now. So if I just swap weapon sets here, as you can see, my character's got a rifle on his back, not in his hands right now. And if we fire the abilities, that's like the first skill, just a single shot, and then this is volley, which fires a whole heap of shots. And as you can kind of tell, the abilities, they happen quite quickly, or they have quite quick animation frames and all that kind of stuff. But let's say we were to use the other kind of ranged weapon the warrior has with different range skills, the bow. I wouldn't actually really recommend taking this in the fight because, as you can see, it takes a bit longer to pull back the string and fire the abilities. Yes, some of the abilities are kind of fast, but especially the number 1 skill, which you'll be using on auto fire over and over and over again because you can do that, is actually quite slow to fire when it comes to the bow. And I'd recommend some kind of ranged weapon that fires quite quickly, because there will be a bunch of enemies, as I mentioned, on platforms trying to shoot you with cannons, and you may not always be guaranteed to pick up a cannon and shoot the cannon back at them, as you will soon see. So yeah, just whatever class you have, try and pick up a ranged weapon with stats you like on it. Try and get it exotic if you can. If you can't, rare is good enough, and make sure that it's a weapon that fires kind of quickly and that you enjoy using. So a great example on what not to do. You are a ranger, and you decide to use a short bow. That probably won't reach long enough to actually hit many of the enemies on platforms because, as the name suggests, short bow, short range. You would want to use a longbow. Even if your longbow isn't the favorite weapon to use as a ranger, I honestly suggest picking a weapon that is long range and fires fast. Anyway, that was it. Enough of this. Back to the original video and whatever I was talking about before. Right. Now, well, that's out of the way. Hopefully that didn't take too long. You go into the story journal, click End of Dragons, and then click Begin the Story. And then a cutscene will play, which you can move your mouse down to the bottom left of the screen and skip it, which we're going to do because this guide is trying to get to the point as quick as possible. Then you will be sent mail. Read the mail, and by read it, I mean wait until it stops glowing, and you're done. And that's pretty much it. You don't need to read any more of it. Now, unfortunately, you will also need to go to the Eye of the North to access this place, so you may need some missions done from the Icebrood Saga to at least unlock the Eye of the North. Or if that isn't the case, you may need to use a teleport to a friend stone to go to the Eye of the North. Either way, we are going to go to the Eye of the North, which is over there on the map. I'm going to bring up the map again right after clicking on this place so you can see where it is on the map. and we have to go there because the story mission is telling us to go there. By the way, I'm going to put timestamps in the playback bar of the video, so if you want no spoilers whatsoever, just skip ahead to the part where I label it as we're actually in Cantha and I teach you how to fish or something like that, because the next part of the story, as I mentioned before, will have speech bubbles and it may spoil some of it for you. Yeah, so I'm just going to skip past the rest of this loading screen now. Okay, loading screen skipped. Now what you want to do is, it's really simple. You want to just run over to this big glowing dragon and then talk to them and let them and let your character and the dragon finish talking. Yeah, as you can see, speech bubbles up there, and I'm actually just going to skip this part because this is dead easy and you don't really need anything. Like, there's no real combat or anything you need to do here. There is no chance of failing it, so I might as well not include this in the guide, because no chance of failing, there's nothing for me to cover. Okay, we're back. Now that the talking that I mentioned before is done, the talking that you cannot fail, the next step is to head to Lornar's Pass, which isn't that hard to get to at all. It's just down here where the story says so. So even if you haven't unlocked Holbrak so far, and I'm not sure how this is even how that even really possible, because you'd probably be playing the game enough to know where Holbrak is, you can just teleport to one of the waypoints over here, the Scorncourt waypoint, run all the way to Holbrak, and then it's just this, actually no, you do the way of Foothills, and then you do a huge loop all around, all the way to Lornar's Pass, and kind of come through here. Or the better way actually is going to Lion's Arch to this place, and then you can kind of take a tunnel through here where you pop up right into the Durman Priory and you go over here. But we're just going to, in this case, take the waypoint that gets us closest to the this little pip here, and then we're just going to go over to it and activate this. So we are going over to the story mission, pretty self-explanatory here. But on the way, I guess I can mention that I recommend for this choosing a build you are quite comfortable with and that you know very well. For example, I have a warrior build I've been using for ages that's gotten me through a lot of content with a stat selection I like on my trinkets and also on my armor. It will generally help you defeat the enemies, but like I mentioned before, the enemies actually aren't that tough at all for this section compared to some other sections, such as the Path of Fire. The story missions there actually are, in my opinion, a lot tougher. Actually, never mind. I'm going to cut to the end of this because you don't need to see me run all the way there. He just talks with an NPC, and the actual combat doesn't come until a little bit. Okay, here we are. The next part of the story might actually be considered difficult because previously there were 3 basically bandits that appeared with technology-heavy bandits. They appeared, and I was able to defeat them. There were 3 normals and 1 veteran. You shouldn't have any trouble with them, which is exactly why I went and pretty much just skipped all that. So our next mission is to check inside this airship on this airship armada. We are here for story reasons. If you're trying to avoid spoilers, just try and ignore what everyone is saying and what they're doing and why we're here. Yeah, so these enemies here, as you can see, they like to usually group up and fight you, and I'm basically using the age-old tactic of backpedal, so that it forces them all into single file, and then my area of effect attacks, such as this one here, where I like fling my sword and a lot of fireballs come off it because I'm a berserker, that's the specialization I am right now, can hurt them all. Yeah, and now we just have to download the flight data from this command console. Pretty self-explanatory. Then the game will just, like, I guess, stun you for a minute, and then it'll immediately tell you that you have to get off this section of the ship onto the next section of the ship. By just, in this case, jumping down. And then, I guess from this one, you just have to jump to the next one. This may be a little harder if you have friends with you due to a bit of desync, like the last time I was playing this, I had a friend with me, and they went and basically, they were the party instance leader, so it felt a lot of times like I was experiencing a little bit of desync when fighting the enemies, like I wouldn't be able to jump off the airship that well. But if you're playing this solo, there should be little to no desync at all, unless I guess you have a laggy internet connection, because this game is online, it's an MMO, and yeah, you already know the rest. Yeah, so I've already played this part previously, so I know that very soon the game is going to ask you to use your special action key to jump from different ship to different ship, You may not know what that is, so I'm just going to quickly go into the controls and show you right here. If we just scroll down, I have it bound in here, if I can just find it, that I have my special action key set to P. So when I press P on the keyboard and P again, it's going to activate the special action key. If I get, yeah, that special action. You can bind it to two separate keys, and you will need to do that because now the game is going to get these pirates over here to like start firing cannonballs at you. And what you want to do is press the special action key, then press it again, and you will use kind of like this leap ability to get all the way over to the other ship because you are using a special type of magic that is unique to the story for, again, story reasons. So I'm not going to spoil anything. And that there is why you want to bind the special action key to something. You can bind it to two keys at once. That's the wonderful thing about it. So if you wanted to, and it's easier for you to reach over to a certain key, you could bind it to P like I have, and then bind it again to, I guess, numpad 0 or something like that. Whatever you prefer. Yeah, and as you can see, it's not that easy to sometimes get on one of these things. It needs a little bit of aiming and stuff. It also is a little bit janky actually getting on the platforms sometimes. And they also, the pirates here, tend to shoot a lot of cannonballs at you from other platforms as well. That guy over there is shooting cannonballs at me, but I'm ignoring him. Yeah, and if you fail, the game is generous enough to actually teleport you up onto the next ship that you need to get to again for story reasons. It seems I actually jumped on the wrong ship, so I'm going to put a quick cut in here and get back to you when I'm onto the right thing. And I also just remembered you can actually run up this mast here to get extra height on the enemies and make it much easier to jump. And then it's just a case of jumping onto another ship. There are achievements here, by the way. One for killing all of these either Blade or Sky Pirates, whatever I called them. And another, I think it's for not getting hit that much by enemy attacks while jumping from platform to platform. But it's actually really difficult for me to do that because I'm playing on a controller and I've bound it so that the special action key needs me to hold down one of the controller buttons, then hold it down again. So I'm actually right now reaching over to my keyboard and pressing the P key. Yeah, here there's just going to be some more dialogue, which we don't care about because we're just concentrating on getting through this as fast as possible. So in a situation like this, I'd recommend just getting up as high as possible. In this case, jumping on these boxes here, because more height means you have way more chances to jump on the enemy ship. Like so. And the best thing is, when you get really close to these cannon guys, they don't really have an option to fire the cannon at you, because it's too close range, and if they did, they'd have like a chance to blow up their own face. And this is also an excellent chance to use the cannon. So the cannon actually functions a lot like the special action key, where you aim it by, you aim it a lot like the special action key, where you just choose a spot on the floor, and then you fire it. And as you can see there, it was able to take basically half the health of this elite Ether Blade, which is excellent because you don't want to stick around trying to defeat her for too long, because she's elite. And that means she's tougher than the rest. Then here, there will be these electrical fields that will try and spawn and kill you, and you just want to kind of judge their movements like I'm doing now, and try and get hit by as little of them as possible, and your goal here is to smash 4 separate command consoles. As you can see, these things break really easy, because I'm only using my base attack, like my average little piddly sword swipe, and it is melting these things like butter. This is one more console to smash. And now here, I'm going to use one of my movement abilities as a warrior to jump myself forward with my sword. If you don't have one of these, don't worry about it, but just consider movement abilities when you're trying to break these consoles. Yeah, and now the game is actually showing you the next one of these things you have to jump on, so I'm just going to get as close to it as possible, aim my jump correctly, and this platform is apparently actually also trying to shoot the ship down. Because I'm on the ship and they want to blow up the ship because I'm a high value target and a big threat. Yeah, and then here's kind of another, I guess what you could say, non-cutscene. Oh, that's the one you meant to jump down. You meant to just jump down to this platform, actually. Yeah, for story reasons, you also suffer no fall damage on this part, which is nice. Yeah, and there's apparently I didn't get the achievement because I got hit by too many electric fields. I'd need to come up with probably a different control setup to actually use the special action key easier so I don't have to reach over on my keyboard I was trying to get the achievements. But don't worry about that, because the first time doing this, you're probably not trying to get the achievements. You're probably just trying to survive all this and get through it. Yep, Ether Blade's defeated, and then you just access this command console to reposition the ship for, again, story reasons. And in here, we use the same tactic I used before, where you just run all the way up here, and then you can use the special action key to jump onto the next ship, which is where you need to go, because the controls up here is what you're trying to access. Yeah, and now here, these Ether Blade might try and shoot you, but this is another reason why I was saying bring a ranged weapon, so you can defeat these Ether Blade at ranged, and yeah, so you can avoid their cannon fire a little bit. You're meant to access the controls, so I'm going to attempt to activate the controls here and reposition everything while this Ether Blade is shooting me, because I bet, yeah, I got the bar to fill up before that guy over there with the cannon could kill me. Oh, and apparently we're just flying away from him now. We're taking the ship into unknown territory and kind of just leaving him behind the dust. I'm pretty sure... Oh, okay, maybe I was wrong. This isn't actually at the end of the mission. We're just flying in front of some more of these platforms. Again, there's a veteran cannoneer here. And this one, by the look of it, yeah, they can actually attempt to knock you off the platform. And another thing they're also capable of doing, by the look of it, is, oh, they also had, like, a brake bar that you can't really remove. So you may be getting shot at a lot here, but luckily, you can use the cannons against them and just kind of just kill them instantly. There, I missed my chance, so we're just going to wait for the platform to go back down again. Any moment now. Even though we're getting shot at, I have, like, lots of health. So, I'm pretty sure that, even if you... Oh... That was really, really wonky. Yep, now that we're on the correct platform, you can just use the cannon on the platform to kill the enemies ahead of you if you want, after killing that one Ether Blade, and then just use your jump ability again. Yeah, so here we are, finally on the next ship. I cut out a lot of me just failing because for some reason that jump was the hardest thing to make. It was like there was a bunch of desync or something happening, which just felt like it made it almost impossible to actually do the jump correctly. And then, pretty much, there'll be a new island ahead of you for reasons not going to explain where this is, but then afterwards, you're going to access the controls again to reposition this ship, and then, oops, you done the, you made the ship go a little too fast. The story just has to happen like this, and you end up basically crashing into the island. I know because I've played this as a part of the story before. So after that you crash into the island, there'll be a short cutscene of this dude randomly coming across your character and waking them up. Okay, my bad. So what ended up actually happened there was after repositioning the second ship, the game didn't really give you any indication for this. I just ended up figuring out myself by jumping down. But that was the ship we were on previously. You're apparently meant to jump off, land in this ship, and then rescue Gorak, the Zero with the glasses. So we're going to do that now. Especially since the game is pretty much like telling us, hey, dum-dum, there's like a little green marker on your map saying, go rescue this guy, go do it. In order to progress the story. Yeah, so just a few more Ether Blades there, pretty much easy to defeat. 2 more of them next to him, tied up, and he's just yelling something because he's under distress because he's tied up. I mean, that makes sense. Pretty much any character in the story would do that. Yep, so then we cut him free, and we should be crashing into the mainland any moment now, like I mentioned before. Yep, your character says got to get off the ship because it's like not flying correctly or something. Yeah, and this is kind of what I was talking about before. An excellent reason to get off the ship. It's all flaming and exploding. Yeah, so here you actually have to just sit here and don't really do anything, because if you walk forward, as you've seen before, the game just catches you on fire, because apparently the ship is meant to be burning up to the front end of it, even though it doesn't look like it's burning. Yeah, you can see there, it works like command, I think we're going down, and then you get knocked to the floor, and then this entire screen goes white, and you suffer heaps of stacks of burning damage. Yeah, and then here is like the start of the cutscene I was talking about before. It is black at first because your character is actually meant to be unconscious. That is part of the game, that wasn't a glitch. And there you can see him, my character Elvin, unconscious on the beach, with the head tilted back, and you can see the underside of his charred neck, which looks really weird here because I don't think characters are meant to stretch that way. And here's the dude who comes and rescues you. Apparently there's also no skip button here, so I'm just going to cut ahead until we get to the next part. Oh, because it's happening already. But I cut through this loading screen. Like I'll skip past this because you don't need to see it. Okay, here we are in the cell, like I mentioned before. So what ended up happening pretty much was there was a montage of multiple days passing, and then you're put right here, and you can kind of interact with a whole bunch of things. But what we want to do is just... Oh, apparently there is a way you can break yourself out of this cell. So I guess you can just attempt to try everything. In this case, I'm going to just grab a large rock and see if I can break down the cell door. Apparently not. Yeah, but don't worry, even if you can't figure out how to actually... even if you can't figure out how to actually go and get yourself out of this... out of the cell, the guards will come for you soon enough and then help you out. So my logic here was apparently I've got a stick now, and now I can't apparently use the stick to wedge myself out of there, but maybe there is a way to, well, yeah. So now I've went and just used this stick on the Oh, I think I know what you have to do. So you have to put the stick, break the rock, use the rock to break the bench, then get the stick and get the... Oh. Apparently I was just too... I just wasted enough time that this guy lets you out of your cell, but I think I was almost ready to actually let myself out, because what I done there was pretty much I used the rock to break the bench, to get the piece of wood, to then stick it into the food where it already dried, and then I used that to get the key and was almost ready to use the key to unlock it, and then like as I had the key in my hand, this guy comes along and I guess my character hides it and like shoves it in, I don't know, shoves it to the side of the room or something, or puts it in their pocket if these prisoner clothes have any pockets. Yeah, so now you're pretty much going to get your gear back from this guy called, well, he was called Big Hatted Man before he revealed his name. And I'm going to skip to the part where this mission is finished, because then it will allow you to actually exit into the actual open world of Cantha, and there you will be able to walk around freely instead of being stuck in a story mission like this. Okay, so here we are at the end of the first mission, and it's called Old Friends. So here it says Old Friends completed. You know you're done with it when this thing pops up and you get a bunch of things, including a fishing rod, and it gives you a bunch of karma, I'm pretty sure, if you have fishing already unlocked, which I do. So we're just going to click accept here, and now it says that you have a new mastery acquired fishing, which I apparently already have. Well, not apparently, but I already have it. Then these are all optional characters you can talk to if you want, but screw that, we're not here for that, we're here to fish. So we're going to click exit into the Seitang province. And now there'll be a short loading screen. And here we are in the actual city, and now I'll actually show you how you actually start fishing. Okay, so now I can explain the basic premise of fishing. So in order to fish, you will of course need to get near some kind of body of water. I'm just going to jump the fence here with my raptor, since apparently it isn't letting me glide over like normal. And then we're just going to find the nearest body of water we can. And it looks like there's quite a few down here, next to these, next to these wood pillars or something. I don't know what to call them, honestly. Okay, so start fishing, One thing me and one of my friends recently found out is when activating fishing, you want to be on a place that's high enough to actually reach the fish. Being somewhere like here behind a wall, like this wooden fence, that's the word I was looking for before, won't actually let you fish properly. Oh, and to actually activate fishing, go over here, activate mastery skill, and click on this one, start fishing. It should be your only one so far, because the summon skiff shouldn't be unlocked yet. And here you have it, the ability to fish. Now, what you want to do is just get up to a high enough place, such as this little kind of circular thing with a pillar here, and then press 1 on your keyboard, or I guess left mouse click, and then press either left mouse click again, or press 1, and you will then put the bobber into the water, and then you wait until basically, yeah, that exclamation mark symbol pops up. Then you use 2 and 3 on your keyboard to move this yellow bar back and forth, and that's how, and you pretty much try and keep it on this little green thing here. And once you have successfully left it on the green thing for long enough, you would then catch the fish. And there you have it. That is pretty much all there is to it. That is the very basics of fishing. There are also a bunch of different masteries you can learn when that's got to do with fishing, such as this one I've already unlocked here, Fishing Hole Master. I have not found a fishing hole yet, and there are a number of others, including Angler Sense, that gives you 20 plus to your base fishing power. Basically, how I understand it is base fishing power is like how much fishing strength you have, and when you have more, you can catch more rare fish. That's my guess of how it works. And pretty much a bunch of these masteries will start increasing how many rare fish you can catch. And then this one also seems very useful fishing on a full tank. So basically, if you have nourishment, in other words, food, any kind of food buff, you will fish with a extra 100 plus 100 fishing power. And even if you don't have that, this mastery enables you to just have 20 plus more fishing power. And that is the basics of fishing covered.